Greetings! What is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is shining and the magpie is casting. I am breaking my fasting, returning to the casting. Let's hope that this trend will be lasting. And coming at you right now with a live 1 vs 1 battle featuring spawning in the south, it is going to be the Overcommand West forces of Nerbo. And spawning in the north, it is going to be the Soviet forces of Sexpistole. Hopefully these two players here are going to be fighting on Crossing in the Woods, going to put up a good show for us to demonstrate the new patch, which came out like 2 days ago. I think it came out on the 28th. I've taken a look through the patch notes, at length actually, because they are very long. There is no other way to take a look at those patch notes. I think they weigh in at some kind of, like, I think there's like 17 pages, 23 pages, sorry. Yeah, there's quite a lot of patch notes there. A lot of changes throughout the game. This is, of course, the result of the winter balance patch effort, which the whole community has chipped in on, and it's been really cool to watch, really cool to see. Yes, it's taken a long time, but it's finally here with us now. Hang on a second, my mouse is being a little bit glitchy. There we go, okay. What is up with this? For some reason the middle mouse button is just being a little bit insensitive. Anyway, well, we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully it won't disrupt the cast. So yeah, there have been like quite massive changes wrought throughout the game. To all of the factions, and also to just some of the core mechanics. Now, I had thought of putting together just a patch notes video, you know, check out this video and watch the, and like, I'll just overview everything that's changed. But I just thought, I don't know, that seems a little bit artificial to just do it out of context like that, especially with a patch this big. So rather than do that, I think I'll just kind of cast a few games, jump in, play a few games, and mention changes as and when I see them. So immediately you can see on the Storm Pioneers who are just chilling over here, they might want to get stuck in, or maybe they're waiting. Ooh, they could maybe get a flank on this Maxim. Anyway, the medkits ability, that's now unlocked at Vet 0, I don't know, that's a change that Relic thought was appropriate in the face of the changes that they've made to light vehicles. More on that later. Yeah, Storm Pioneer is going to be doing that. For Volks Grenadiers, they've got 25 munition Fausts now, so not 35 anymore. A nice change there for the Overcommand. Also, hopefully, going to help them. Also, they can use their use those Fausts a lot earlier now. You just need the one Schwervermacht Schlepper on the field. You don't even need it deployed. You just need to have built that truck. So as soon as this little progress bar here is finished and the Schwervermacht Schlepper comes onto the field, they'll be able to use Fausts. Looks like it's going to be a special weapon, support weapon Campanile, from Sexpistole. Going to be rocking on out with 2 Maxims so far. We'll see if he's going to up the Maxim count here in a second. And of course, these Maxims, very powerful units, going to be taking a fight handily here against the Volks and the Storm Pioneers. Both of these units, I imagine, will be forced back. The Volks Grenadiers GTFOing just now. Storm Pioneers probably likely to follow. However, over in the east, it looks like Nerbo going to be making some ground. You all know it's going to happen. You all know I'm going to rhyme Nerbo at some point. I'm just waiting for it, just so you know. Because it rhymes with another word that I like to use. So anyway, Schwervermacht Schlepper is out. We're going to see a tech choice coming out here from the Overcommand West player here shortly. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to mention some of the general changes that have gone on in this patch, seeing as how we have a moment of relative quiet here as the Soviet player pushes in the west, and the Axis player pushes in the east. Reinforcement half-tracks, now they've had quite a big change. They actually now gain veterancy, a little bit like officers do, from the infantry units around them. So that's really, really cool. I think that's a great idea. They've also made a few other changes just to make the reinforcement half-tracks just kind of slightly easier to use, more usable. I think that's awesome because I like using reinforcement half-tracks. I actually think that they're a pretty interesting and cool mechanic, which you don't really see in any other RTS. And I think that they were intended to be a core mechanic of this game, at least for the two factions who are supposed to rely on them, for the Soviets and the Wehrmacht. And I think that they just basically weren't implemented very well from release, so hopefully these changes will maybe see them used a bit more. Honestly, I'm not convinced it's enough, but, you know, we'll have to wait and watch and see what happens. What are these Volks doing? They're just running into their death against point-blank conscripts. This is risky, isn't it? Looks like they're going to be used here as an ablative shield, allowing these Storm Pioneers to come on in and try and do some damage, but, you know, there's Flammenwerfer for engineers here. Volks Grenadiers are forced back, and now, in the heavy cover of these sandbags, these Storm Pioneers are getting absolutely hooned on. Oh my god, guys, you have to get out of there, and that they will. So that's great. And I guess, oh look, Volks Grenadiers here coming in for a little bit of a backstab here. Probably trying to maybe get a squad wipe on these conscripts, but it's not going to happen. Able to decap the cutoff here. Actually, no, that's not actually having any effect right now. But, yeah, whilst these two players kind of keep skirmishing away here, I'll keep trying to frame the action, but it's probably worth also me mentioning, you might even be able to tell, my voice is still not fully recovered. I had quite the illness, like, I just didn't have any viruses or bugs like throughout the entire winter, and then I got it all in one basically. So I've had like a fortnight of feeling totally lame. But I'm back on the track now, and although my voice is still slightly deep and a bit husky and a bit sniffly, I am definitely castable now, which is like awesome. Today was the first day I woke up and I just thought, oh my god, I'm not like hacking my lungs out, so I should totally get on the casting. Anyway, nice scoreline here for nice scoreline lead here for Nerbo. 500 over 433, always good. Quite, I guess, rare for the Overcommand player. I usually expect to see Soviets doing pretty well in terms of the scoreline in the early stages of the game, but Nerbo's been on top of that, so that is good to see. What are we up to now? Still just the 2 Maxims. Going to be adding in a Zis gun. I was kind of hoping to see the Special Rifle Command, because there have been some pretty significant changes to penal squads, and I would really like to have seen some penals being used out on the field. For those of you who don't know, they can no longer take a flamethrower, but they can take PTRSs now, just like vanilla, needing no commander or anything. Also, the satchel charge can be attached onto vehicles, and has had a number of other changes, so would have been cool to see that. The Zis gun, as far as I know, remains unchanged. So we've got a Panzer II Luke's coming. Sorry, didn't catch the tech choice. It is, of course, the Mechanized Regiment HQ. So Panzer II Luke's going to be coming. Pardon me, you are going to have to just give me a little bit of leeway for being ill here and there. Now, the Panzer II Lukes, there have been significant changes to this unit. Can I get a follow on this unit? Oh, there is definitely a follow button. You know, as a caster, I should really know what the hotkey for that is, but I don't, so awesome. So the Panzer II Lukes has had a manpower cost decrease by about 50, it's had a fuel cost decrease by about 5, it's had an AoE damage significant reduction, AoE distance likewise reduced, and these changes, I believe, are aimed at the fact that the Panzer II Lukes, do you remember just occasionally, and it's happened on my stream or on the channel a few times, it would just catch an entire infantry squad and they would just get like insta-gibbed by like a single, 2 centimeter shell, or it would do intense amounts of damage with just a couple of lucky hits. Well, I think that they've aimed to try and make its damage more consistent over time and a lot less bursty and a lot less, how can I put it, like dependent on the clustering of your opponent's infantry squads, because I can remember at least once I saw like a single Panzer II Luke shell kill like 6 conscripts of a squad or something because they were coming out of a door. And there were other situations where you just would randomly get absolutely punishing amounts of damage inflicted. Looks like a Zis gun barrage here, sorry, just going to be used by Sexpistole here. Very nice. Rarely do you see this ability used, but this is what it's absolutely designed for, countering MG teams. Oh, looks like that MG is actually going to manage to get out of there, unless this shell clips them. Oh, there we go. They are going to escape, so nicely done there by Nerbo. Nicely done also by Sexpistole. I think this is like bread and butter Soviet tactics that we just don't see often enough, is the Zis gun barrage in response to a MG. Now, this MG, oh my god, he's being so brave, going to turn that one around and forces another fallback, so getting every little bit of value there is Nerbo. That's really nice to see. But what was I talking about before I got so... Oh, we got guards on the field, which means that Sexpistole has gone ahead and chosen mechanized support tactics. Wow, not often we see that. But wow, he's got... Okay, well, he's gone for the ISU commander on this map. That's interesting. Guards have been heavily changed. They do now cost more. Let me just see if I can find the page for guards. Because I have actually got the patch notes, like, in hard copy version in front of me. Because there have been, like, reasonably heavy changes to the guards. Here we go, guards. So they cost 360 now rather than 330. And they've had some damage nerfs. Looks like that's against infantry. And they can now rebuy items and lost equipment. That seems really good, because if you remember, those PTRSs were really easy to lose, and then you couldn't get them back, which was turbo annoying. They've changed some of the veterancy bonuses. Looks like mostly nerfs there. And the frag grenade has had some changes as well to the AoE profile. Sorry, I'm reading off of this piece of paper, which is why I'm not maneuvering the camera. And has had a munitions cost decrease as well. So guards a slightly different unit now. We'll have to keep an eye out in combat. It seems like they'll be a little less efficient against infantry now. Rakettenwerfers, these units have also seen quite a few changes actually. Rakettenwerfers have had... Hang on a second. I'm just going to scroll on through to Rakettenwerfers here, because it's just interesting for me to know as well. So they've had some pretty big changes to invisibility in general. In fact, invisibility or stealth has had some big changes. Snipers, the Jagdpanzer IV, basically any unit that can make use of invisibility has had some pretty large changes implemented to it. Just like the general, like the base mechanics of how stealth works has changed a lot. Probably the most significant one being, if you fire a shot, oh, that frag could have gotten a lot more actually, but gonna do some great damage there. Those guards chipping in for a nice frag there. But anyway, Yeah, if you take a shot whilst you're in stealth, you cannot re-stealth for like a flat 10 seconds. I think that's true on snipers, it's definitely true on the Jagdpanzer, it's true on the Raketenwerfers, so you have to think pretty hard before you take that shot, because 10 seconds is quite a long time to be, you know, hanging out in the open, particularly if you're a sniper. So, anyway, apart from the general changes to stealth, looks like the Raketenwerfer has had the ready aim time reduced, and has increased the fire aim time. So, apparently this will make the Raketenwerfer more effective against vehicles to make up for its reduced performance against infantry, because it's now much more susceptible to infantry flanks, what with stealth being changed the way it has been. Interesting. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for those changes and see how they affect the game. Let's crack the tack here and get a little bit of an overview of what's going on. Looks like the, as you can see, the Overcommand player has been forced back considerably under a cap right now, 2-to-1. The Soviet player controlling slightly more of the board, but only like, it is actually only 1 point more, I think, and it's this central point. So pretty much an even game at the moment. Scoreline 4-6-4 for the German player, 4-12 for the Soviet player. Looks like this Panzer II. Oh, this is a new Panzer II. Did I miss the demise of the other Panzer II? Well, that's what happens if you're trying to read patch notes and cast, guys. Aha! Multitasking for the win. So anyway, it looks like a new Panzer II going to be out on the field. There's also been significant changes to the Puma, so maybe we'll get to see those. That would be interesting. Let's just quickly check. Have we got another tech choice? Yep. The battle group at HQ has come down in a pretty nice defensible position here. That's going to enable the medics to access the HQ. Now, the medics, I believe that their AI has also been redone so that they're a lot more efficient at healing. They don't get distracted running around so much trying to get to different infantry units. They heal in a much more methodical and logical order. So I'm very glad for changes like that. That's just going to make the game easier and more intuitive and more awesome to play. Panzer II Luke's here just going to be policing the Soviet infantry as best as it can. Guards here going to be getting pinned down by a pretty nicely positioned captured Maxim here. Nerbo here with the turbo captures. There it is, I rhymed it. Nerbo turbo. It was going to happen. Going to get the turbo captures on those Maxims. That's pretty nice stuff. The Soviet army is pretty nice, but what's he saving his fuel for? Is he really just going to jam it all up for the ISU? Wow, I mean, he's literally only got the support weapon camp on I mean, you need 14 fuel to get to this thing. I think he's going to have a fuel surplus. I think it's probably worth throwing down a tech choice and getting maybe an Su-76 or something. Not sure. The Su-76, as far as I remember, actually, they've changed that, so its barrage is not free anymore. That's a pretty big change, to be fair. I'm not 100% on that. Let me just... is that true? No, I've just made that up, apparently. Yeah, I can't see that in the changes. Alright, cool, because the free barrage on the Su-76 was like a really cool thing, so... I don't think that they should change that. It's just like, that's like in the nature of that unit. Anyway, it looks like a Ziskan barrage going to come down here, looking to try and dislodge the Maxim, which has now moved. This Maxim really needs to just get a fallback on. Let's see if Nerbo can be turbo and get over here and fall that back in the nick of time. And he does, actually. Very nicely done. Still going to be a hard run thing, though. A lot of Soviet rifles pointing at these guys. They are in negative cover. They are a machine gun team. So... could be hard times. Looks like the Panzer II Luke's going to be chosen to come forward and try and save this unit, and the Maxim does actually exfiltrate safely. Very nicely done. Meanwhile, in mid, Kettenwerfer going to be stealthed and capping a point here, so nicely done by Nerbo. Still has a point lead for now, but, you know, the Soviet player's map control has only gotten better and better over this last phase of play. Both players' armies pretty evenly matched, I have to say. I think I'm going to give the edge to Nerbo here because he does have the Panzer II, does make him faster and more responsive. Looks like a T-70 here, going to be the choice for the Soviet player. Now, the T-70, you know, yeah, I've already spoken about some of the changes to it, I think. But basically, yeah, just... I think that Relic wanted to make it like more consistent and less bursty, so they've nerfed its AoE, brought the coaxial MG up a bit, changed its cost. It's a little more expensive. So let's look to see the effects of those changes on the T-70 as it rolls out into combat. Looks like the Panzer II Luke's going to get stuck on into a Maxim over here, so that's probably going to have to fall back. No sign of support anywhere nearby for the Soviet machine gun team there, and. Wow, look at the minimap. All 3 victory points changing hands. We've got action across the map here. Ziskan going to get taken out by by Storm Pioneers and the Volksgrenadiers here. So nice work here from Nerbo, but he's going to lose his Storm Pioneers. Ach nee. Flank of guards coming in from the rear here. Pardon me. And the Axis advance kind of getting a bit stalled out over in this area of the map as well. T-70 going to rampage on through, manages to find a machine gun team, so that's 2 squads wiped. And look, the roster here The roster here for Nerbo is getting turbo reduced. Poor guy, he's getting absolutely rinsed here. That T-70 able to just surgically pick off an MG squad. Yeah, there was a Rakettenwerfer covering it, but you know, the T-70 just doesn't really care that much. It's going to back on out of there with a little bit of damage, but, you know, absolutely worth it there. Panzer II up to 1-star of vet now. Actually going to give chase on this Maxim. Desperately wants a squad wipe here. Oh, this is such a risky chase, but he's going to go for it. I kind of don't blame him. He needs to get something. I feel like he needs to take a risk, and now's the time to do it. He does get the Maxim, so that's nice. Obviously, it's going to be available for recrewing, but at least he's going to wipe the veterancy off that, force the Soviet player to have to spend some resources and a little bit of time getting that one back online. Kettenwerfer here, creeping in, manages to get another hit. This T-70 actually quite low. Panzer II, if it's feeling ballsy, could come on in here for an attempt on this. Is he going to do it? Oh, this Panzer II. My God, sir. He is fearless. He has had no minesweepers, as far as I know, this whole game. The Soviet player just not really making any use of mines. He finds a Zis gun. Why does he not open fire? There we go. The shots come forward. What? He's just going to park it in front of the Zis gun? No, that's not what you want to do. Oh, my goodness. Takes a pretty needless Zis gun hit there. Now the T-70 is here to try and marshal this Panzer II. But it's on so little health. Here come the conscripts frantically oorahing forwards. That will be an AT snare, so this Panzer II, I think, pretty much is going to die. The question is it going to get a T-70 on the way out? The answer is yes. So both light tanks here going to trade. When you take into account the fact that he got the Zis gun, he also got a Maxim, that was probably just about worth it for the Axis player. But obviously when you're trading resources and you're behind, that's always a bad thing in almost any strategy game. You know, if you've got 8 things and your opponent has 10 and you trade 1 for 1, then eventually your opponent will have infinitely more than you because they'll have 2 and you'll have none, and that usually represents a win in pretty much any game. So, you know, from chess upwards, basically, if you're behind and you are trading your resources, that's usually bad. On the flip side, if you're ahead, start trading your resources, because it usually works out well. Sorry. God damn viruses. I think maybe, actually no, that's just silly. I was going to say, maybe viruses have like a special vendetta against me. I mean, I did study viruses and learn their weaknesses for 3 years at university. Was that a mine? I think that was a mine. It was a really, only got 1 conscript. Yeesh. Okay, so the scoreline's pretty damn close here. Nerbo's still with the edge. Army's also pretty similar. I think I like the Soviet army slightly better at this stage. Looks like Nerbo's gone ahead and chosen his commander, and it's going to be the Special Ops doctrine here. So he's going to have access to that Command Panther. That's going to mean that he doesn't have to tech. He's coming up to having enough fuel, and he's, what, 225? So it's going to be about another 3-4 minutes before he has the fuel for that. And that's actually reasonable against the ISU as well, so I don't mind this pick of commander. It's pretty spicy. He doesn't have the Schwerpanzer HQ, so there's going to be no Obersoldaten with infrared STGs or anything spicy like that. Looks like another Rakettenwerfer going to be the choice here. I would love for him to get like another unit of Volksgrenadiers or something. Mine's going to be coming up in mid here as well for Nerbo. I feel like Nerbo is just desperately struggling. He's got 5 squads underneath his opponent's 8 here. So he is like severely outnumbered, out-resourced here. He's down at 34 supply, under 50. So I think definitely the underdog right now is Nerbo. But he somehow still controls 2 of the VPs and his map control. Otherwise, I mean, look, if I crack the tack, you know, there's almost as much blue on this map as there is red. So he's doing okay for now, firefighting. I think if he loses if he loses any of his core infantry squads, by which I mean the Storm Pioneers or either of the Volks, in like the next 2 or 3 minutes, this game probably falls apart. But if he can preserve them and add to this core infantry roster and hold on for Command Panther, well, maybe he can be okay in this game. Anyway, looks like a grenade barrage going to be coming down. That's the Special Operations Doctrine. If Sexpistole didn't know what he's up against, he can probably have a pretty good guess about it now. This Maxim is going to be winning the MG fight against this Maxim, the Axis Maxim, if you like. But gets rushed down by STG Volks, so going to have to fall back itself now, which means that Nerbo's going to maintain his hold on mid. Massive Soviet push in west, though. We've got guards times 2 conscripts and a Maxim, taking a lot of points over here in the west. Eroding at the map control of Nerbo, who's also going to be stealing this fuel point with a cheeky squad of Volks, and I have to say I do like that. Actually, these Volks are going to come around for a great flank on this Maxim here. Pinging in for really nice damage here at close range. Going to grab themselves a Star of Veterancy, force back the Soviet MG as well, which is really nice. Nerbo loses a Rakettenwerfer in this position, though. That gets hosed down by the Maxim. Soviet guards here going to grab that. And things going from kind of bad to worse here. Oh no, he's going to spend fuel on another Panzer II, and I'm not really sure I approve of this choice. This will be his 3rd Panzer II. The others haven't been great. Your opponent's just stolen a Rakettenwerfer. You know they have a Zis gun, at least one. and your opponent hasn't spent any fuel this game. So I can't see how a Panzer II is really going to be... Well, okay, he spent some fuel, but not much. So I can't really see how Panzer II is really going to affect like the status quo out here. I think I would rather have seen the manpower that went into this unit go into like another squad of Volks or even another Rakettenwerfer, but I think I like Volks better. And then hold the fuel for the Command Panther, which is your end game here. And I mean, look at this. We're coming on up to 14. Well, we're at 12 and 3/4 command points, and at 14, there's going to be an ISU, and that ISU at the moment is completely unanswerable. A single Rakettenwerfer does not an ISU beat. Oh my God, these Volks getting chewed up here. Nice grenade here from the Soviet forces. Flamethrower, conscripts also here. So that's all of the Axis presence in the east of the map, and I fear we may be looking at the demise of Nerbo here. He does go for another squad of Volks. I think this is a sweet choice. Here come those Volks now. Hang on a second. I'm going to have to mute my mic here. Wow, pardon me. My throat beginning to feel it now from having casted for, what, 21 whole minutes. Dear God. But anyway... Yeah, I mean, if I crack the tack, you can kind of see the story. A lot more Soviet units than Axis units. Whole map is kind of being captured by the Soviet player. With the addition of this Panzer II, I mean, that means that the Command Panther is just never going to arrive in time, especially now that the Axis player just doesn't really have any fuel. If he didn't buy this Panzer II, he could actually have the Command Panther pretty much out now, I think. So this seems like a really odd choice to me. I don't mind getting the Panzer II after the Command Tank because the two have natural synergy, but the Command Panzer is like, that's the key unit that you need on the field right now, not another Panzer II, in my humble opinion. Anyway, looks like these Volksgrenadiers in the west going to be repulsed. There's just too many Soviet units. Oh, dearie me. Oh man, I really thought I was like ready to be casting, but my throat and my nose are beginning to say no now. God damn it. I just want this illness to be over with. Anyways, looks like a mine here going to find the Panzer II. That puts that unit in jeopardy. Let's just see where the Soviet anti-tank assets are. So it looks like we've got the Kettenwerfer all the way over in the west. The Ziskan kind of falling back because it's being pressured by Storm Pioneers. So I think that Panzer II will be able to scurry away here. Pretty clutch. But the Soviet player is going to be going for the triple cap here. And that is fairly devastating. He's also going to have access to that ISU like really soon. He has the manpower. Well, he's about to. He has the fuel. Conscripts here just going to oorah in for a quick AT grenade. Just looking to put some additional damage on that Panzer II. Not entirely convinced that's worth it, if I'm honest. I think they were already 3-star vet before they did it, so that, you know, the Soviet player not banking too many munitions, that seems like a slightly questionable choice there, because you were never going to get the kill on the Panzer II there, and it's always going to get repaired, and because Storm Pioneers repair so quickly, you're not even buying much more time of it being off the front line, I feel like. So I'm not, like, totally sold on that AT grenade. But, you know, it's not going to cost him the game either, I think. A lot of Soviet units actually back at base, fully reinforced. Is he just waiting for them to heal? Okay, there we go. Now he moves out. Manages to grab himself the middle VP, though, does Nerbo. So it's 368. He still leads by a ticket. Damn it, now it's even Stevens. So 367 to 367, the scoreline. So somehow, despite this drubbing... Oh, here comes the ISU. Despite having been beaten down pretty hard here, Nerbo's still in with a chance. He does have time on his side. Like, he has some time to work with. 363 tickets is quite a lot to be working with. And he's even going to cap some ground over here on the right. Now, he must hear that. He must hear the sound of the ISU. Woot, woot. That's the sound of the ISU. It's actually not at all. It sounds more like this. And so... I mean, that is... the Volksgrenadiers here probably going to be first to receive the wrath of the mighty assault gun. Boom! And that is a squad wipe. And I just think this game's going to be so hard to win now, because ISUs just do that to your core infantry. Okay, here comes the Command Panther, so he does have something that can at least try and hurt this ISU now. But oh my... Oh god, these guys are so clustered. He knows that there's a Maxim in there, throws the grenades. Looks like Sexpistole going to craftily get the Maxim out of there, so that's nicely done. But man, this ISU is just locking down this flank here. Taking shots. Here comes the Command Panther, not set to prioritize vehicles, so it's going to waste shots into infantry here. Now it gets set, but A little late, I feel. Zisgun is here on support. First round going to bounce off the front of the Panther. Looks like the ISU going to try and make itself scarce here. Boom! Gets a penetrating hit through the front, does the Command Panther. Is there any more AT in the area? Well, there's guards, there's conscripts, so this Panther could get snared if he's not too careful. And there is a Zisgun in the hood, so this is dangerous times here for Nerbo, but he's going for it. The marked vehicle comes down, and Button comes down as well, so I think this Command Panther probably not going to take this fight. You can see he's trading health really, really, really fast here. Oh, what was that? Rakettenwerfer round stinging in. Ah, my god, look at the health bars on these two units. It all basically comes down to this. The Command Panther manages to get out from the Button. Will take one more hit to kill, though. The ISU frantically trying to lock it up, and you have to think in the rear armor it should be good. Oh my god, the ISU is so low. If he can just get this, come on, commit the Panzer II, get it in there. Get the Panzer II in there. Okay, this is quite clever, actually. If he gets the Command Panther out, he can repair that faster than his opponent can repair the ISU, so I kind of like that. Panzer II gets smote. Gets smitten down by the ISU. And now we're looking, look at the top left, look at the top right. It's 42 supply under 73. This is a dire place to be if you're Nerbo. But somehow he kind of has the VPs. He's desperately salvaging as well. What a hero. What a hero. That is some heroic salvaging, I've got to say. I do have a lot of respect for that salvage going on there. I think he's going to try here for a grenade cluster on this unit. Actually, the Soviet player just going to fall on back. So let's see. So the Command Panther is being repaired. The ISU 152 is being repaired. And we may have a round 2 between these two guys. Wow. I thought for sure that that Command Panther was going to be toast, but they are quite durable, even with Button, even with marked vehicle, with a Zisgun and an ISU pinging it for damage. He was able to get out of there, now with a considerable amount of luck, I think it has to be said, but he was able to get out of there. And almost managed to, you know, put together the kill on the ISU. So 4 kills, not that much veterancy on the ISU. The Panther ought to have, yeah, way more veterancy, because obviously the Panther was doing a ton more anti-vehicle damage, and the ISU actually is a more valuable target, so it does yield more veterancy per damage dealt to it. So that's another factor there. Now, where are the Storm Pioneers? I feel like if he repaired with the Storm Pioneers, then his Panther would be ready way before the IS-2 would be ready, and that would enable him to have like a window of pressure where he could come in and try and bully for the ISU, but he may just feel that there's no way he can access the Soviet base, and I don't think he's necessarily that wrong there, if that's his feeling, is Nerbo. So he's rebuilding Volks, he's up to 3 squads of them, he's going to be up to 4 squads of them, and somehow this game goes on. I just thought that for sure that Nerbo would be out of this, and for sure if the Command Panther would have died and it was on a knife's edge, then he would have been out of this, but the Command Panther lives on. So we definitely have a game here. Let me just crack the tack. We can take a look at the overview here. We've got a nice spread of machine guns. There's a nice spread of AT assets as well. Here comes an Su-76 for the Soviet player. So moving from strength to strength right now is Sexpistole. Ton of veterancy over his army as well. Really nice to see. Maxim in a great position here, just going to be suppressing units, doing a lot of damage. Here comes the Command Panther, going to try get something done. Does announce itself here. ISU has been repaired. The Su-76 is in the hood. There are guards moving in. So a lot of anti-tank options here. A lot of anti-tank assets for the Soviet player. Beginning to trundle into position. This Command Panther has to be so careful because this is everything for the Axis player. Bing! What was that? That was Su-76 here. Gets a penetrating hit on the Command Panther. So some damage now dealt. Conscripts in the hood. Bang! Now there comes the anti-tank grenade. This Command Panther is now snared. And this is what I mean. You can't play this. If he loses the Command Panther, that is it. That is just game. What was that just exploded here? Well, anyway. Oh my god, the Command Panther is so low. So many conscripts pursuing it. Marked vehicle has come down. The ISU and the Su-76 pinging in for great damage. Another anti-tank grenade gonna connect. And this Command Panther kind of on its last legs now. I think it's so slow, it's worth turning it round here to present the frontal armor because the rear armor is so tragic. The Su-76, if it could just position to here and then would take the kill, I think. But pardon me. But looks like he's going to be allowed to limp away with the Command Panther once again. But now the ISU is at full health, so this ISU is going to be just dominating the field whilst the Command Panther repairs. So there's going to be no respite here for Nerbo. He is turbo on the ropes here, and this is a dangerous, dangerous phase of the game. He still leads by, he's actually leading by 49 tickets and has a triple cap. What madness is this? Soviet player here really needs to just take a breath and just marshal these VPs, which, you know, to be fair, he's now just grabbing 2 of them. So he's beginning to do that, actually going to grab the 3rd here, so he's going to get the victory point situation back in hand. But I am sort of amazed, based on how this game has looked, that Nerbo has been able to hang in there on the VPs. That is kind of awesome for him. Anyway, Command Panther here being repaired. It's being repaired by Storm Pioneers who do have the repair kit upgrade, so it's going to get repaired really fast. That's awesome. Has itself a Star of Veterancy, which, what does that do? It just gives it Blitz, doesn't it? Combat Blitz. Yes.
Vehicles can be marked and targeted.
ISU-152 here going to be chunking on into these poor Volks. Kills 3 of them. One of them's going to try and run away. Still tracking is the ISU. Boom! Smashes down a man off the MG42 squad here. Kettenwerfer in a nice position, but the T-70 is here. Maxim is also putting down some suppression. So that unit hardly operating at peak efficiency as I just take a sip of my drink. Oh, dearie me. Alright, so the Command Panther comes in, being so aggressive. How are you being so aggressive with this unit? It's ludicrous. Marked vehicle comes down. Instantly, the engine is broken. The ISU-152 chipping in from the side. The SU-76, very damaged, but trying to defend itself. Is this really how you use Command Panthers? He's using this thing like a sledgehammer, and that is not how the Command Panther should be used. He needs to keep backing out. He needs to get the hell out of here. Has the Soviet player loaded AP rounds yet? No, he needs to load AP, because I think he's got an opportunity here. Oh god, that Command Panther is getting pinged down. These PTRS is actually doing okay damage. The SU-76 also chipping in shots. The Command Panther is just down on like 20% health. How is it not dead? ISU-152 for sure. Oh, it's on a pixel! Do these conscripts have an AT grenade ready? They don't have the Muni! Okay, there we go. There we go. The Command Panther goes down. And with the Command Panther going down, that represents the last hopes, I think, for Nerbo in this game. And it'll be a short road, I rather suspect, to a GG from here. Wow. What a game, though. I'm kind of impressed at Nerbo for having, like, held in there for so long. Sexpistole here, clearly, like, a very competent Soviet player, but he could use, just working on his, I guess his overall strategic mindedness, because there have been a lot of opportunities where he's had field control, where he's had the superior army, but he hasn't necessarily exploited that fact to the maximum, like, benefit, you know? He hasn't, like, gone for every victory, you know, for every ticket he could have. And there have been opportunities where I also feel like he could have gotten more damage, like that Command Panther, the second time it was turbo wounded when it was retreating, like over here. I really feel like the SU-76 could have gotten the final hits on that one, because rear armor was facing, and the Command Panther was totally stricken. I think it's worth moving the SU-76 just down to the south to ping that one off. But you know, generally a pretty good game here from Sexpistole, using the Soviet forces in a pretty textbook style, not diversifying his tech as much as we're used to seeing. I certainly think he could have thrown down the Tank Heavy Battalion Command a bit earlier and had an earlier SU-76 being useful on the field, rather than just stockpiling like surplus amounts of fuel than you even need for the ISU-152. But anyway, this ISU-152, oh god, is it just going to dominate these poor Volks here in a second? They're so clustered. They're so clustered. These Volks are just going to get gibbed as soon as there's any kind of line of sight. So what have we actually got here for Nerbo then? Because he's not GGing yet. No, he's only like 5 VPs behind. Dear God. He's got like 3 squads Volks with STGs, mixed veterancy on them. He's got Storm Pioneers, 2 MGs. I think it's a Maxim and a MG34. Oh, sorry, no, just 1 MG now. Loses the MG34 there. The ISU-152 is quite good against infantry. Oh no, these squads are so clustered. No. T-70 going to come in here. Kettenwerfer goes down. And I may consider fast-forwarding here because my voice and my throat are beginning to suffer really badly, for which I apologise so much, but I am definitely on the road to recovery, so hopefully more casts will be coming soon. As soon as I can shake this goddamn virus. But yeah, an interesting game here. I have to say, did we really feel the impact of the patch in this game very much? Not really. And I'm going to talk about that just a little more, because this patch was a long time in the making, and there have been, as I say, I mean, I've got 23 pages worth of patch notes in front of me, so it's not like there have been no changes. But I feel like the most important things that everybody really wanted to see changed, and these are really, really big things, and perhaps they're beyond the remit of a patch, but for example, Wehrmacht teching, it's still a mess as another squad gets nuked by the ISU here. Wehrmacht teching is still such a mess, like, it just doesn't really make any sense. And there are just other bits of the game. Oh god, a quick double squad wipe there. And this patch was such a long time in the making. It had so much help from so many great members of the community. I wonder if it's enough. That's my question here. Pardon me. Well, I mean, obviously, on the balance of having watched just one game and still not having even played once under the new patch, I can't say for sure. But I have to say, I was hoping for slightly more changes than what we've seen in this patch. I think I will fast forward here because the German players are just getting annihilated. And also, I need to go and make a cup of tea because my voice is really struggling. Oh god, his base is just getting destroyed here. The ISU drives on in. Boom. Oh, that is just ugly. Oh, this is just... Oh, man. And that is indeed GG. If Nerbo would ever be GG. Oh my god. He's building a searchlight half-track. I love it. That is definitely what's going to save this situation. Here comes the searchlight half-track, ladies and gentlemen. Where is it? Yeah! Illuminate the hell out of this Soviet army. Definitely illuminate the hell out of that army. And there we have the GG. It looks like that was a demo charge, I think, on the HQ building for the kill there. Nicely done by Sexpistole. I think I've already done the post-game analysis here. Talking about it earlier, what the two players could have maybe have done differently. Reasonable game here from Nerbo. Just, you know, got punished and just got more and more and more behind and then was not able to come back, as we've seen so many times from OKW, to be honest. Yeah, interesting. I'm definitely keen to cast a lot more under the new patch. I really want to experience it and see the changes and things like that because it is a big patch. A lot has changed. My question, though, is it enough? Is it enough? Time will tell on that one. Time will tell. Now, there's also Dawn of War 3 coming out next month, I believe, in April. And I, of course, will be purchasing and playing that game, and no doubt casting it as long as replay functionality is a thing that's in that game quite a lot. So, yay, we're going to have a new game coming to the channel soon. That should be really cool. And, of course, I'll be casting some Homor Deserts of Karak. I've got some fantastic replay packs of that game waiting, ready to go. Hopefully I'll cast again tomorrow. I mean, my voice and my throat have been, like, steadily improving over the last few days. So that'll be really good. And I guess, for now... thank you very much for watching, and this will be Magpie842 signing out.